Alright guys, Tactical Rab here today, and I recognise that for a long time I said that intro way too fast and just kind of said whatever, and I didn't really realise that you guys couldn't understand what I was saying. I thought it was kind of implied, but you know, whatever. I'm now going to try and say my intro properly as it was intended to be said in the first place. So yeah, there we go. I'm sure some of you guys have been noticing that over the last couple of days. Not the biggest deal, of course, but you know, that's one thing to keep in mind. Today, a few things to discuss. Wanted to talk through the 2K to some detail. We also have a couple of interesting announcements related to the Paris team and a few other things to show to you guys, including this, which we'll start off with here, to do with player hitboxes in Modern Warfare. It seems like we don't go a single video on this channel without ragging on Modern Warfare a little bit, but it's not for the negative, right? As the more attention comes to issues with the game, and we'll go through a couple in today's video, the better the chances are of these actually being resolved going forward. So yeah, like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always, leave all your thoughts down below as I'm sure you will. I'd greatly appreciate it if you did. And yeah, let's hop right into it here. Firstly, wanted to share with you guys this clip. I'll make it full screen. These hitboxes are clearly not exactly working as intended. They're not outrageously poor, but they're it's really not ideal. So yeah, in addition to the whole the issue of cameraing in this game, if you guys don't know what cameraing is, it's kind of when to some degree when you have invisible enemies, that an enemy comes around the corner and on his screen he can see you, on your screen he hasn't quite come around the corner yet. That issue does happen quite a lot, to be honest, in this game, and we did go through those issues of the player models and exactly where the eyes are lined up a couple of days ago now, and that has caused issues, right? And maybe that was even in yesterday's video, who knows? I lose track of time. Wanted to run this past you guys as well. Yesterday you may have seen the Call of Duty Twitter account got hacked. This was the name of it, BurgerTown 2v2. They were playing, I think I tuned in for like a minute or so, some sort of music video was going on. I doubt that was intentional, but yeah, I thought I'd run that past you guys just in case you saw it and you were like, okay, what exactly is going on here? Pretty sure they just got hacked. I think that's under control now. Wanted to mention this as well, because this is very interesting. This guy, Brandon Hewitt, Paris Legion, say, please help us welcome Novus Vita to our coaching staff as an analyst. And you know, I hadn't heard of this guy before, I didn't know who he was, but this really says to those of you guys who are out in the community there who may want to build something in esports, may want to, you know, make a name for yourself or do something in this industry, now is the perfect time to do it. This individual, I went to have a look on his Twitter here. You know, he just has 150 followers, make it 150 now since I've followed him. Gaming and esports content, CoD esports analyst, more than just the numbers. This is a guy who he's not exactly not well known within the community, but he's been doing a few things on Twitter over the last few months, which I'll look through here, which have really helped build his name up to the point where he can get involved in an organization like Paris and probably be getting paid a decent amount of money for it too. So now with all this money flying in from VCs and all over the place, now's the perfect chance to get something done. And we've seen it with Easy Mac over the past season, making those scoreboards, moving into being an analyst for FaZe Clan. It was last season, and then of course this season moving on to the Atlanta FaZe, so staying with that organization. And you know, he's made great roads in the last 12 months. This guy has pretty much come out of nowhere. He's been producing things like this over the past couple of months, so I thought you guys might find quite interesting. Pretty damn well done. Phantoms player overview, CDL champ. So we looked at some of the KDs that he put up against Singularity Envoy. Then had a look at versus Envy. Sorry. Then he had to look at some hardpoint KDs and this kind of stuff. Like nothing completely out there, nothing completely ridiculous, or nothing that took a hell of a lot of skill or analysis or anything like this. But just putting things out there like this really helps get your name noticed. And now he's clearly proved enough to Paris that he can have an impact on this team. So really great to see. I'm really happy for him, and if you guys want to follow in similar footsteps or try and forge another path in the industry, then the world is kind of your oyster right now. So yeah, this is it for Natche, and he makes another one for Chino as well, which I thought was pretty interesting. Damage per minute, damage per round, comparing to the season average. Just nice things to look at that I hadn't seen been before, and you know, he's clearly making inroads. Wanted to show you guys this as well, as Unbowed mentioned to me. He added me in this, and then he tweeted it at me directly in DMs. If you guys want to follow my Twitter, it'll be down below. Parasite says this: for the pros that watch my stream at the beginning of every year, you're welcome for the free classes or lessons. I'm gonna need down payment next time though. And King of the Swamp, so this guy Zinx, says I need a down payment on not getting someone banned with me in World War II who is now in the CDL. Parasite says, who's that? He says, Kisma. We bought GB accounts together, and I was approached to give proof as well, which I had, and chose not to put him through what I went through when I got banned. Now that dude's egos my tweets and DMs. Crazy, huh? And so this is pretty interesting. Buying GB accounts effectively, I guess this is to do with the pro points idea. You can buy accounts with more pro points or whatever. So I don't exactly know what the rules are against this, but it may be something to do with that. There was clearly an issue for it. This guy got banned for X amount of time and managed not to dob in Kismet, even though he has managed to dob in Kismet now. This is a tweet that has since been deleted. Kismet, of course, on the Paris team that we just talked about. So this is pretty interesting. A little bit of drama going on here, to be honest, behind the scenes. Something to keep in mind, right? And, you know, this tweet has, of course, since been deleted for reasons unknown. But going forwards, maybe that's a little storyline to keep in mind there. So let's go on to this then from Arcetes. Wanted to share with you guys this clip, another issue with Modern Warfare, of him effectively just crawling through a door.
I heard a door open bottom. Like hard.
Definitely not bottom.
Alright, hold on. I'm about to try to nade this guy top right construction.
I'm nading with you.
Yeah, I stunned him, I flashed him.
I hit it. I didn't hit him though.
I could smoke their
I'm gonna
bridge.
try to get him.
So that's pretty ridiculous. I doubt it works on all doors. I suppose these are some sort of special doors on Ramazza where you seem to just be able to crawl straight through. Not ideal. Personally, I wish doors weren't in the game at all. I really don't think they serve much purpose, apart from allowing campers to more easily spot people coming up behind them because they can hear the doors open, which is very disappointing. But yeah, just wanted to mention it. If you guys are seeing those doors, I guess this is an unintended glitch right now, but abuse it to your heart's content. So then Nelson says he's fully switching over to streaming now. So you guys may know this individual. He used to play way back in the day on the 100 Thieves team, actually, in that first rendition of the squad. He used to play on, I think it was Royalty, Aches, and one other, maybe Remy or something, alongside Nelson. Interesting team. And now he's going to be moving over to streaming full-time. Had a good few offers, actually, but he has big things planned on the side. So if you guys know Nelly Nelson, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of, then he's going to be moving to streaming full-time. Let's go into the 2K. So we have this result from the APAC one, which came out a couple of days ago now. Let's just make sure this is the right size on the screen. That'll probably do. So Fighter, Setsi, Swifty, Pred, and Liam walk away with a $500 for the APAC one, and of course the regions, the other regions, had theirs happen today and, well, yesterday and the day before. So this is the finals of the European 2K. Happens to Weeman, Defrag, Madcat, and Nolson CoD on one day's practice, they say, along with Shawnee, of course. Shawnee and Madcat being substitutes for the London team. Wanted to have a quick word here on the whole Path to Pro situation. The contracts that Shawnee and Madcat have to be two-way contracts, which means that they can still play in the Path to Pro, but they can also potentially be subbed into the main team if required. Now, there are some restrictions, and it's very likely that the London team will create effectively a challengers team of themselves. So they will have their main roster, then they'll have their Path to Pro amateur roster, which their substitutes can compete on, but also they'll maintain another squad, because it's very difficult, to my understanding, for another organisation to come into the fray that doesn't have a team in the Pro League and say, okay, we want to have Madcat and Shawnee play on our team, because that causes contract issues, and it's very difficult to work out when they're also contracted to another organisation. So it gets pretty messy. So in an ideal world, each team will have their own amateur challengers team, effectively. I guarantee not all of them will do, but some of them will. And on that, you know, the substitutes will have an opportunity to play. If you happen to be a substitute on a team that doesn't have an amateur section or an amateur organisation as part of the offering, then pretty unlucky. It's going to be very difficult for you to get your spot in the Path to Pro scene, which is, you know, difficult, of course, not something we want to see, but that's kind of how the contracts are working this season. to the best of my knowledge. So here we go, Macat, Shawnee, Nelson, Weeman, and Defrag. Some other big names here. So these are the current teams we're looking at. Dinza, Vortex, Dave, Moose, and PT is one of them. So yeah, definitely some guys you'll know. And this French squad as well comes top 8. Then Pentagram with Tish, Dylan, Rex, Infamous, Kevin, Zyril runs away with the CDL North American one. Apparently they were honestly like demolishing this tournament. I was really impressed. They were, you know, as Clayster says, we take at least 50% credit for this win because I think they were playing a lot against the Dallas Empire, and of course we know the Dallas Empire are really pretty ahead of the game right now, so they were definitely teaching them some things. And yeah, this is what we're looking at here, so let's have a look down the list. Pentagram, Zyril, Tish, Rex, and Infamous run away with it. Let's work up from the bottom. Top 16 teams. Of course, this is very early days. The game is going to change significantly, but definitely this implies what we expect to see going forwards, right? We've definitely got some indications, some early 2Ks in the past, how things are going to work out. But of course, the game is going to change significantly. A lot of these teams are going to change. But I think it's quite interesting to see the kind of teams that are being formed behind the scenes as well. We've got Killer here. Killer, Proofy, Theory, Johnny, and Hus B were playing. They came top 16. Knight, Parzelion, Jetly, Machilla, Llama God, part of course, that Midnight squad last season. Two real Beezy's team down there. So definitely some names you guys will be aware of. Of course, one of the bigger ones is Exotic, Nagafen Royalty, Fellow, and Goonjar. So interesting, this is part of the squad that General was rumoured to be on, that was then rumoured to be going to UIU. To the best of my knowledge, that's not happening anymore. They're actually looking to pick up a different team, but I can't talk about that, on right now. At least I'll have to wait for more information to see if I can share that with you guys. But yeah, the third, fourth place, Parasite, Spart, Spacely, Embos, and Pharaoh. So very interesting. Of course, this team, Spart as well. Pharaoh, making his way somewhere. Parasite did do a tweet yesterday saying that, I'm still looking for an opportunity to being a substitute for a team if it is possible. Of course, Spacely did really big things last season. So the fact that he's not managed to make it into a league is really kind of shocking, but at the same time, Spacely is an in-game leadership type of figure, and it can be very difficult to accommodate a guy like that on your team, depending how you're organising your squad. So yeah, I think Spacely honestly deserved a spot somewhere. He's had good results in the past, but this looks like the team he's going with. Embos, to be honest, in Search and Destroy especially, has been pretty damn impressive. Rich and Lonely is their name, which is the name of Embos' clothing brand he's doing now. So Bose has been pretty impressive to me. The little bit I've been watching him play, so maybe he will get an opportunity as like an S&D sub, right, which is kind of the sort of things we've been talking about, the idea that teams can bring in substitutes just for the purpose of switching out for Search and Destroy and having pure S&D specialists. Of course, I'm sure he'd prefer an option like that than he would just being on a team like this. And there is still plenty of time for these organisations to sort these things out. Things aren't set in stone as yet. It's not like the league is fully locked and all the players are locked in. A lot of teams have announced their 7, but it's possible that they could fork out a little bit more money as long as they haven't hit the salary cap to get an 8th player, and some teams haven't announced substitutes yet at all. So it's possible Embos could still land his way somewhere. Of course, it's still, a month and a little bit, or a couple of months and a little bit, until the first weekend in Minnesota, January the 24th, by which time it's very possible that a lot of other players have been picked up onto the substitute bench, and I think it's pretty wise of teams to hold off a little bit, especially if you think that your starting roster is pretty damn good, to make sure you weigh up the substitutes you could potentially get onto your team, and then think where you go from there. So yeah, this is definitely what I wanted to talk about today. Like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you are new as always. Leave all your thoughts down below on how you think these teams will do going forwards, how they'll do in the challenger side of things, and who are these people who will manage to get into the Pro League at some point throughout the season, if not in the next couple of weeks or months or whatever. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new as always. I'll see you next time.